Hey, all you cool cats and kittens. I'm sorry. Hello, everyone. We are doing, we're working on headstands today. So we're not really going to get there until the very end, but you're going to need some slippery socks. I know it sounds weird, but make sure that you have a pair of like fuzzy socks. It would be good to do this on a wood, like some sort of non-carpeted floor, but for what we're going to do with the socks or whatever. But if you don't have a carpeted floor, your mat probably won't work unless you have maybe paper plates. So maybe get 2 paper plates if you have them, or slippery socks, and we'll just see what happens. We'll see if that works for you guys. You'll see what I mean in a little bit. But again, we're working on inversions today, specifically how to do a headstand. They're a lot easier than people think that they are. It's just a matter of engaging your entire core and all that fun stuff. So we're going to get started in child's pose. Ellen is doing it with us, and she's very excited for child's pose. So again, you want to have a pair of slippery socks or 2 paper plates, because we're going to do a little bit of core work that involves that. So yes, okay. So we're starting in child's pose. So in child's pose, to set that up, you'll just come onto your hands and knees in tabletop position. Take your toes to touch, and then your knees out wide. Sit your hips back into your heels and drop your chest in between your thighs. Walk your hands forward to the front of your mat, out in front of you. Rest the forearms onto the mat. And then if you can reach, rest your forehead onto the mat as well. If you can't put your forehead down onto the mat, put it down onto a pillow. So put a pillow underneath your head. So just find some, find a moment of rest here. So with inversions, we're essentially reversing the direction of our normal life. So we're normally upright with our shoulders above our hips. And when we get inverted, we essentially change the direction of the blood flow, of the energy in our body. So, and it's a nice reprieve from our normal upright position. It's super beneficial for the digestive system, for the nervous system, and overall circulation in your body. So inversions could be in any sort of capacity. They don't have to be a headstand, a handstand, anything like that. The most basic inversion that I know is legs up the wall. And even that one is fantastic. So these are the types of postures that we want to incorporate daily into our life to just maintain a little bit of equilibrium energetically, and improve circulation and blood flow and all of that good stuff. So take this time to start to let go of the day ahead of you and the day behind you. Closing the eyes and starting to control the breath. Taking deeper inhales through the nose and deeper exhales out. With each breath in, feel the back of your body expand, your rib cage expand open to the sides and up towards the ceiling. And then with each breath out, you contract and squeeze the air out of the lungs. As you inhale, you make space. And then as you exhale, you squeeze everything out and contract. See how much you can lengthen the breath so that each inhale and each exhale is equal in length and time. So that it sounds like one oceanic wave coming in and out through the nose.
Maybe you take a slight constriction to the back of the throat to create that sort of oceanic wave-like sound coming in the back of your throat as you inhale and as you exhale. And that's what we call the Ujjayi breath. It's just a form of breath control. And it's meant to lower the cortisol levels in our body and reduce stress and bring a little bit of calm into our mind and our body. As you inhale, reach your fingertips a little bit farther forward. And then as you exhale, start to walk your hands over to the left side of your mat. So this opens up the right side body. If you can, place your right palm on top of your left hand. Maybe you create a little bit more opening there, that way. Take a deep breath into the side body, the right side. And exhale out. Inhale. And as you exhale, walk back towards center. Take an inhale breath, reach forward a little bit farther. And then as you exhale, walk your hands towards the right side of your mat. Maybe they come onto the floor. Maybe you stack the left palm on top of the right, opening up the left side body. Inhaling through the nose and breathing out, creating space in the left side. One more breath here, inhale. And then as you exhale, walk your hands back to the center of your mat. And then we're going to inhale and come up into tabletop position. So in tabletop, we're on our hands and knees and we're stacking our shoulders right over our wrists and our hips right over our knees. On your inhale breath, drop your belly low, pull your chest through your shoulders and broaden the collarbones, look up. And then as you exhale, take your tailbone down towards your heels, pull the low belly in, puff the upper back up, press firmly into the palms, and tuck your chin into your chest. Inhale, drop the belly low, pull the chest through the shoulders, broaden the collarbones, look up. And then exhale, round and curl. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the chin, lift the chest. And exhale, round and curl. And then we're just going to come to sit seated on our knees for a moment. Grab those socks, whatever you have that you can. So what we're going to do, I'll just explain first. We're going to do a little bit of a core warm up here using, it's basically like a mountain climber, but we're, instead of one leg at a time, we're pulling our legs in at the same time. So the slippery socks could definitely work on your mat or they could work on the floor. But we're coming into a high plank position and we're going to start to slide our legs forward into like almost like a crow pose, and then back. Slide forward and back. So we're going to, set up for that, putting on your socks and whatever. Yeah, you might need to face this way and do it like that. Yeah. So set up for that. We're going to start in tabletop pose. And you can have the extra challenge with this one is keeping your legs straight. So I'll show you both, but we'll start in high plank and we're going to do 15 of these to start. See how we feel, and we might do more. Take an inhale and then exhale, draw your legs up into your knees. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, draw into your knees. Inhale, straighten. And exhale, draw into your knees. And then the other thing that you can do, so keep going, but the other thing you can do if you want to take it a little bit further is try to keep your legs straight. And this should be core work. This should be legs, arms, shoulders, everything like that. A couple more of these. Breathe in and exhale as you straighten. 3 more. 2 and 1. And then drop your knees. You can remove the socks or the paper plates, whatever you've got. And then we're going right into forearm plank. I know you love these. So set your forearms on the ground. You're going to take your step your legs back into a low plank, forearm plank. Take your shoulders forward right over your elbows, drop your hips low, extend through the back heels. And we're holding for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And drop your hips down to the mat. Untuck your back toes. We're in Sphinx pose. So our shoulders are right over our elbows. The tops of our feet are pressing firmly into the mat. Lift your kneecaps up off of the mat so that your quads are engaged. Press the pubic bone down into the mat. Take your tailbone down towards your heels. Energetically pull your hands and your forearms back towards your elbows and your rib cage to pull your chest forward. Broaden at the collarbones. Inhale, breath here. And breath out. Breathe in through the nose. And breathe out. One more breath. And then as you exhale, come back into tabletop position. Keep your hands where they are at the front of your mat. Tuck your back toes. Start to lift your knees off of the mat and send your hips high up to the ceiling. We're in downward facing dog. Spread your fingers as wide as they go. Press into the knuckle mounds of the hands. And then drop your chest back towards your thighs. Roll the biceps up towards the ceiling and your triceps down towards the mat. And then take your ears in line with your biceps. The knees have a slight micro bend into them and our heels are working down towards the mat. They're not necessarily touching, but they're working towards that direction. Pull the low belly in. Draw the ribs together. And breathe. Inhale through the nose. And then exhale out. Take one more breath here. And then as you exhale, walk your feet to meet your hands at the front of your mat. Take your feet hips width distance apart. Bend into the knees and then rest your rib cage on tops of your thighs. Grab opposite elbows and let your head and your neck hang heavy for a forward fold, a ragdoll. Maybe sway side to side. With your next inhale breath, you're going to lift up about halfway. So you're coming up halfway, not all the way up, but halfway so that your spine is totally straight and your hands are resting on your shins. Take one more inhale breath here. And then exhale, fold again. Inhale, this time we're rising all the way up to standing. And the arms come up overhead. Biceps are by the ears. Take an inhale, reach up a little bit higher. And then exhale, hands come through center and prayer in front of your heart. Okay, so we're gonna move through a few sun salutations and then go from there. So inhale, reach the arms overhead. And then exhale, fold all the way down to forward fold. Inhale, we're coming up halfway, finding that long, straight spine, hands on the shins. And then exhale, plant your hands onto the mat, step back into high plank. You can either stay in high plank or lower your knees for this next part. In high plank, we shift our shoulders past our wrists, past our fingers, keeping the elbows in line with the body. Drop all the way down to your belly or halfway. So this is all the way down to the belly. Untuck the back toes and lift your chest and shoulders off of the ground for low cobra. Or if you go halfway down, we're coming in upward facing dog. Flip your toes, peel your chest through into your back bend, upward facing dog. And then flip your toes and come into downward facing dog. So two options for your vinyasa flow there. You can skip them completely if you want, or you can take them either with the low cobra option or the upward facing dog option. Take an inhale breath and exhale out. One more breath here. And then exhale, walk your feet towards the front of the mat to meet your hands. On your inhale breath, come into that halfway lift. And then exhale, fold. Inhale, rise all the way up to standing. The arms come overhead. And then exhale, hands come through prayer in front of your heart. Inhale, reach your arms up and over. And exhale, fold all the way down. Bow forward. Inhale, come up halfway. And then exhale, plant your hands. Step back into high plank. Either lower the knees or stay here. Shift your shoulders forward, lower halfway or all the way down. Inhale, upward facing or low cobra. And exhale, downward facing dog. Again, in downward facing dog, we want to spread those fingers as wide as we possibly can. And the harder that we press out of the hands, the lighter that we should get in the wrist and the longer that we can make our spine. 2 more breaths here. And at your last exhale, walk your feet towards the front of your mat. On your inhale breath, come up into that halfway lift. And on the exhale, fold. Inhale, rise all the way up to standing. The arms come up overhead. And then exhale, hands through prayer in front of your heart. Take the, you have 2 options. We're going to go into chair pose, and you have 2 options in chair. You can keep your feet wide, as wide as your hips, and sit in the chair this way, like a normal squat, or you can take your toes together and your heels slightly apart and sit this way. It's totally up to you. It's kind of where your knees are at and where your low back is at. So we're going to sit in the chair pose. So sit your hips low. Make sure that you can see your toes. So when you look down at your like your knees aren't forward over your toes. So we want to sit back on our heels and our arms reach forward. So you can take them wide like a V or forward and straight. Pull the low belly in, draw the ribs together. If you have your toes touching, squeeze your thighs and your glutes together. And then reduce that, see if you can take the dip out of the back by pulling the low belly in and drawing the ribs together. 1 more breath here. And then exhale, fold forward. Inhale, come up halfway. And then exhale, plant your hands onto the mat. Step back into high plank pose. Stay here or lower the knees, lower halfway or all the way down. Inhale, upward facing or low cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, reach your right leg up towards the ceiling, keeping the legs straight, keeping the hips square to one another. Take an inhale breath. And then as you exhale, take your right knee to your right elbow. Inhale, take it all the way back into that 3-legged dog. Heel goes up towards the ceiling. And then as you exhale, take your right knee to your left elbow, cross it over. Inhale, take it back into the 3-legged dog. And then exhale, take your knee into your chest. Take an inhale breath here. And then exhale, plant your foot lightly onto the mat in between your hands in a low lunge. Take an inhale breath here. And exhale out. So we're gonna move back and forth from this low lunge to pyramid pose, which is our front leg straight. So we're gonna do that with breath to movement and just find some flow and find some movement there. So we're in high lunge, take an inhale breath, and then exhale, straighten the front leg. You may need props to place your hands on, just so you know. And that's totally up to you. It's basically to raise the floor so that you're not so hunched over like this. So inhale into high lunge or low lunge, and then exhale, straighten the front leg. Inhale, bend the front knee, and exhale, straighten. Inhale, and exhale. Inhale, and exhale. A couple more. Inhale, exhale, straighten. Inhale, last one, exhale, straighten. And then inhale, bend into that front knee, plant your hands on the mat to frame your front foot, step back into high plank, and then we're lowering onto our forearms for forearm plank. Everyone's favorite. And we're holding here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So now the challenge here, you can either drop your back knees and then press back up in a downward facing dog that way, or from low plank, you can press back into high plank and then downward facing dog. So totally up to you. There are 2 options for you. Take an inhale breath and exhale out. Inhale, lift your left leg towards the ceiling, keeping those hips as square as possible. Take an inhale breath. And then exhale, take your left knee to your left elbow. Inhale, take it back into 3-legged dog, left leg high. And then exhale, left knee to right elbow, cross it over. Inhale, 3-legged dog, take it all the way back. And then exhale, take your left knee into your chest. Hold here, take an inhale breath. And then as you exhale, place it lightly in between your hands. And we're setting up in that low lunge. Take an inhale breath. And exhale, straighten the front leg, pyramid. Inhale, bend the front knee. And exhale, straighten the front leg. Inhale, bend. And exhale, straighten. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. Exhale, straighten. Inhale, bend. And exhale, straighten. 2 more. Inhale, bend the knee. Exhale, straighten. Last one. Inhale, bend the front knee. And exhale, straighten. Inhale, bend into that front knee. Place your palms on the mat. Step back into high plank pose and lower onto your forearms. We're holding for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then make your way back to downward facing dog, however you'd like to get there. Inhale through the nose. And exhale out. Walk or step or hop towards the front of your mat to meet your hands. On the inhale breath, come up into that halfway lift. And then on the exhale, fold. Inhale into chair pose. So take your toes together or your feet a little bit wider. Sink your hips down and rise for chair pose. Inhale through the nose. Sit your hips low and exhale. Look down at your toes. Make sure you can see them. Weight is in the heels. Exhale out. And then inhale, rise to standing. Take an inhale and mountain pose. And exhale out. Inhale, chair pose. Sink the hips low. Squeeze the thighs together if your toes are together. Drop the tailbone down towards the earth. Pull the low belly in. Draw the ribs together. And then we're folding forward on the exhale. Inhale, come up halfway. Exhale, plant your hands onto the mat. Step back into high plank pose. Lower the knees if you'd like. Lower halfway or all the way down. Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing or low cobra. And exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, reach your right leg up towards the ceiling. And then exhale, right knee to right elbow. Inhale, take it back into 3-legged dog. And then exhale, right knee to left elbow. Inhale, take it back, 3-legged dog. And then exhale, take your knee into your chest. Hold here for an inhale breath. And then exhale, place your foot in between your hands, high lunge. Take an inhale. And then exhale, straighten the front leg. Inhale, bend. And exhale, straighten. Just a few of these here. Inhale, bend. Exhale, straighten. Inhale, bend the front knee. And exhale, straighten. Inhale, bend. Last one. Exhale, straighten. Bend into that front knee. Plant your hands onto the mat. Step back into high plank. And lower onto your forearms. We're holding for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then make your way back to downward facing dog, however you'd like to get there. Take an inhale through the nose. And exhale out. Inhale through the nose. And exhale. Lift your left leg up towards the ceiling on your inhale breath. And then as you exhale, take your left knee to your left elbow. Inhale, take it back into three-legged dog, left leg rises. And then exhale, left knee to right elbow. Inhale, take it back. Exhale, take it through to your knee to your chest. Take an inhale here, hold it. And then exhale, lightly place it in between your hands. Inhale and low lunge. And then exhale, straighten the front leg. Inhale, bend. And exhale, straighten. Inhale, bend. And exhale, straighten. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale, bend the front knee. Place the palms on the mat. Step back into high plank. Lower onto your forearms for forearm plank. We're holding for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then make your way back to downward facing dog. Inhaling through the nose and breathing out. Breathe in and breathe out. Walk or step or hop towards the front of your mat. Inhale, come up into that halfway lift. And then exhale, fold forward. Inhale into chair pose. Sit your hips low. Arms come forward. Inhaling here. And exhaling out. Inhale, rise all the way up to standing. And then exhale, hands come through prayer in front of your heart. Take an inhale breath. This time, exhale out the mouth. Inhale into chair pose. Sit your hips low. Once again, our arms come forward. Make sure the weight is in your heels. Take an inhale breath. And then exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. And then exhale, plant your palms. And then make your way through your vinyasa, either high to low plank or all the way down to low push-up, low cobra, or upward facing. And then exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, reach your right leg up towards the ceiling. And then exhale, take your right knee to your right elbow. Inhale, take it back, three-legged dog. Exhale, left knee to right elbow. Sorry, right knee to left elbow. Inhale, take it back, three-legged dog. And then exhale, right knee to the chest. Hold and inhale. And then exhale, lightly place it in between your hands. This time I want you to grab some props. I'm going to give you that, Ellen. And we're going to hold pyramid. So pyramid pose, we want to take our feet on train track position. So train track is like pretty much almost as wide as the mat. So widen your stance, and you're going to drop your back heel down to like a 45-degree angle and then straighten into that front leg. But then I want your, like a lot of the times our back is going to curve here and our shoulders are sort of open to the side of the room. Our hips are going to be open. So see how much you can square the hips. So drop the left hip down to meet the right. And then seeing if you can pull that right hip down. Take a soft bend into this front knee and see how straight you can make the spine. So I'm holding onto this block. Somebody told me that they were using a Lysol wipes can as their yoga block, which is genius. So it could be anything just to raise your body up so that your spine is totally straight. And pull your chest through, like somebody has a string attached to your sternum. Pull your chest through to the front of the mat. And we're holding here for a moment. And exhale out. Breathing in through the nose. And then as you exhale, remove whatever prop you have out of the way. Bend into that front knee again. We're stepping back into high plank pose. Lowering down onto our forearms. And we're holding for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Make your way back to downward facing dog. Inhaling through the nose and exhaling out. Inhale, reach your left leg to the sky. And then exhale, take your left knee to your left elbow. Inhale, take it back to three-legged dog. Exhale, left knee to right elbow. Inhale, take it back. And exhale, take your knee into your chest. Hold for a moment, take an inhale breath. And then exhale, plant your foot onto the mat in between your hands. And we're setting up for pyramid again. So widen your stance. Drop the right heel down to a 45-degree angle. Straight into the front leg, grab your prop. And then square off the hip. So pull that left hip back and press into the big toe mound of your left foot. Soft bend into that front knee. And seeing if you can reach the chest forward. Inhaling through the nose. And exhaling out. Inhale through the nose. And exhale out. Last breath. Inhale. And then exhale, bend into that front knee. Remove whatever prop that you have out of the way. We're stepping back into high plank. Lowering onto our forearms for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Press back into downward facing dog. Inhaling through the nose. And exhaling out. Walk, step, or hop towards the front of your mat. Inhale, come up halfway. And then exhale, fold. Inhale, sit into chair pose. Hips are low. Belly is pulled in. Weight is in the heels. We can lift our toes off of the ground. Take an inhale breath. And then exhale, rise. Hands come through center in prayer in front of your heart. Take an inhale breath. And exhale. Inhale, chair pose. Sit your hips low. Arms come forward. Low belly in. Weight in the heels. Inhale through the nose. And then exhale, fold. Inhale, rise for halfway lift. And then exhale, make your way back through your vinyasa, high to low plank, or all the way down. Inhale, low cobra or upward facing. And then exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, take your right leg towards the ceiling. Exhale, right knee to right elbow. Inhale, take it back, three-legged dog. Exhale, right knee to left elbow, cross it under. Inhale, take it back, three-legged dog. Exhale, step it through, low lunge. And then we're setting up for pyramid. So straight into that front leg, grab your prop, drop your back heel down, adjust your stance, and find that long, straight spine. Inhale through the nose. Exhale out. Inhale through the nose. And exhale out. One more breath. Inhale. Exhale, bend into that front knee, remove the prop out of the way. Step back into high plank pose. Lower onto your forearms. We're not going to hold here this time. Instead, option 2, start to walk your toes towards your elbows. Drop your head down so that your biceps are in line with your ears. Lift your hips high, come up on the tippy toes of your feet, and then sink your heels down. Press firmly into the forearms and the palms of the hands. Spread the fingers wide. Press out of the shoulders. So don't let your ears drop into your shoulders. Press as much as you can out of the forearms. And send your hips high up in space. This is a little bit of core work. This is a lot of back. It's a lot of shoulders. Take an inhale breath. And then exhale, start to walk your feet back out. Drop your knees down towards the mat. Sit back in the child's pose with your legs together. Inhaling through the nose. And exhaling out. Inhale through the nose. Exhale, come back into tabletop position. Tuck the back toes under. Lift your hips, downward facing dog. Inhale, reach your left leg towards the ceiling. Exhale, left knee to left elbow. Inhale, take it back, three-legged dog. Exhale, left knee to right elbow. Inhale, take it back, three-legged dog. Exhale, knee into your chest, take an inhale breath. And then exhale, lightly place the foot in between your hands. Widen your stance slightly, drop the right heel down, grab your prop, straighten the front leg, pyramid pose. Take the left heel or left hip back so that it's in line with the right. Inhale through the nose. Exhale out. Inhale through the nose. Exhale out. Last breath, inhale. Exhale, bend into that front knee, remove the block out of the way. Step back into high plank position, lower onto your forearms, and then we're gonna start to walk our toes in any amount. Drop your head so that your ears are in line with your biceps. Come up on your tippy toes to lift your hips as high as you can and pull your chest through your shoulders. Drop the heels down if you can. Press firmly out of the forearms and out of the hands. Strong core, take an inhale breath. Exhale out. One more breath, keep pressing into the forearms, into the hands. And then exhale, start to walk the feet back, lower the knees, come down into that child's pose with your legs together. Take an inhale breath. And exhale out. Inhale through the nose. And then exhale, come back up into tabletop position, tuck the back toes under, lift the heel or lift the hips. Downward facing dog, take an inhale breath. And then exhale, walk your feet forward to the front of your mat. Inhale, come up halfway, lift. And then exhale, fold. Inhale, chair pose. Sit your hips low, pull the low belly in, weight is in the heels, arms are forward and up. Shoulder blades are dropping down towards the tailbone. Take an inhale breath. And then exhale, rise for standing pose. Inhale through the nose. Exhale out. Inhale, sit in a chair pose. We're doing this again. Take an inhale breath here. And then exhale, fold forward. Inhale, come up halfway. Exhale, hands are planted on the mat. Step or jump back into high plank to low plank. Chaturanga all the way down. Inhale, upward facing. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your right leg to the sky. Exhale, take your right knee to your right elbow. Inhale, take it back, three-legged dog. Exhale, right knee to left elbow, cross it under. Inhale, take it back. Exhale, take it through to center, knee to your chest. Take an inhale breath. And then as you exhale, lightly place it on the mat. Widen your stance, drop the left heel down. We're coming into pyramid pose. Grab your prop, straighten the front knee, pull the right hip back, pull the left hip forward. Long, flat spine here. Take an inhale. And exhale out. One last inhale. Exhale, bend into the front knee, remove the block out of the way. Step back into high plank position. Lowering onto your forearms. We're starting to walk our toes up towards our elbows. Drop your chest, pull your chest back towards your thighs, in between, through your shoulders. Your ears are in line with your biceps. Maybe you walk an inch forward, come up into your tippy toes, lift your hips as high as they go, and then sink your heels down towards the mat. Press so firmly into the forearms in the hands that you can actually lift out of the shoulders. Inhale through the nose. And then exhale, start to walk your feet back. Set your legs down, your knees down, and then sit back into child's pose with your legs together. Inhaling and exhaling. One more breath, inhale. And then exhale, come up onto hands and knees. Tuck your back toes under. Lift your hips high, downward facing dog. Inhale through the nose. And exhale. Inhale, lift your left leg towards the ceiling. Exhale, take your left knee to your left elbow. Inhale, take it back, three-legged dog. Inhale, left knee to right elbow. Inhale, take it back. Exhale, take your knee into your chest. Take an inhale breath here. And then exhale, lightly place it in between your hands. Widen your stance. Drop the right heel down. Set up for pyramid pose of the left leg forward. Straighten that front leg. And like I said, pull that left hip back so that your left hip and your right hip are in line with one another. You can inhale here and exhale out. Inhale through the nose. And then exhale, bend into that front knee. Remove the prop. Place your hands on the mat. Step back into high plank pose. We're lowering down into our forearms. Starting to walk our toes forward. Dolphin pose. So pull the chest and the shoulder blades, pull the shoulder blades wide open. Roll your biceps towards the front of the mat and your triceps towards the back of the mat. Press firmly into the forearms and the palms. Pull your chest through towards your thighs. Hips up towards the sky. 2 more breaths. Inhale through the nose. Exhale out. Last breath. Inhale. And then as you exhale, walk your toes back out. Drop your knees. Child's pose. This time I want you to grab whatever props that you have that you can put your hands on top of. So that could be pillows, it could be blocks, it could be books, it could be anything. We're setting it for a child's pose. Keep your knees together and then place your hands on whatever props that you have. Actually, we're gonna take our knees wide. So normal child's pose, drop your chest in between your thighs and then forehead down towards the mat. But I want your hands up on something. So we're opening up the shoulders a little bit. Take 3 deep breaths here. Reach forward as far as you can. Roll your biceps up towards the ceiling and your triceps down towards the mat. Inhaling through the nose and exhaling out. Inhale through the nose and exhale out. Last breath here, inhale. And then as you exhale, start to rise, remove those props out of the way. And we're gonna start playing with handstands now. So I would recommend bringing your mat to the wall, to a wall, and setting it up so that the mat is like right in line with the wall. So we're gonna pretend like the front of my mat is a wall. So we're pretending like this block is a wall. So setting up into handstand, you want to have most of your weight on your forearms and only some of it on the top of your head. So we're really dispersing the weight to our forearms here. And that's why we practice dolphin. That's why we practiced all those forearm planks, is to get the core ready and to get that idea of like most of our weight is on our forearms, right? So the position of your arms should be hands clasped and the elbows are in line with, like the biceps are in line with the ears and elbows are squeezing your head essentially. And then your hands are clasped, but I want you to release the pinkies and take them inside. So I'll come up closer to the mirror, but you're like this and you release the pinkies and take them inside. So it looks like your pinkies are down, and that is what you're resting your forearms on. So your forearms are on the mat with your pinkies released. And what that does is it actually protects your neck. So if you roll at all, if you fall, you're sort of breaking the fall with this sort of action here. So we're here with our pinkies released, and it helps keep a little bit of stability. So you're going to come up to a wall and you're going to come onto hands and knees. Take your forearms down. So say that this block is the wall. Take your forearms down, clasp the hands, and then release the pinkies so that they're inside. And then you're going to place the top of your head, and the top of your head, so actually let's do this really quick before you go down. Take your thumbs to the tops of your ears, and then take your middle fingers together. So it should be right in the center of your head. Release one hand, So keep your middle finger planted on the top of your head. Release one hand, take your thumb to the tip of your nose, and then middle finger back to meet your other middle finger. So right there where your middle fingers connect is where the top of your head, that's where your head should be resting. That's where it shouldn't be forward on your forehead or back on the back of your skull. It's right at that center point where your middle fingers meet. So again, we want to take our forearms down towards the mat. We're in this sort of forearm tabletop pose. Release the pinky toes, and then take your head right and cradle it right in your hands. So we're like on my hand. I'm trying to like see if you can see this at all. So my head is right up to my hands here, and then I'm going to tuck my toes under and press into like that dolphin pose. So again, here is where we're setting up here, and then don't walk your feet forward yet. First, I want you to start lifting your head off of the ground using your forearms and sort of feeling that like strength that you should be maintaining in the forearms. Soften at the shoulders as much as you can. So lower the knees if you need. But I want, rather than letting your shoulders sort of sink down into towards the elbows, pull them out and away from your ears. So our pinky is released, our head is cradled in between our hands and our forearms are pressing into the mat. So tuck your back toes under, start to walk your feet forward, bend your right knee and take it into your chest, and start to shift forward on your left toes. So it's just sort of this motion here. And the goal is to get our hips right over our shoulders. So by shifting the hips back and forth, then you can start to pull maybe the other knee in, and the reason what we have the wall is so that you can fall back. So you can take your feet back towards the wall if you need. So pretend there's a wall behind me. So we're here for a moment. I want you to pull your low belly in and pull your ribs together. And then start to walk your feet up the wall. And your heels may be totally resting on the wall. That's okay. But just try to feel, like take one heel off at a time and try to feel what that feels like. But we want to squeeze the legs together as much as we can. Squeeze the glutes. Pull the low belly in. Draw the ribs together. So you notice that my ribs aren't really flaring here. So the goal with that headstand is to basically be in mountain pose, into Tadasana pose. So when we're in mountain pose, we're not flaring our hips, our low back isn't dipping, everything's pulled in tight. And it's the same concept. We want our tailbone to be going towards our heels and our frontal hip bones towards our shoulders. So it requires a super strong core. You don't want any dipping in the low back. And you should have most of that weight onto your forearms. So again, I'll teach this one more time. So forearms down towards the mat, one pinky is released. You cradle your head right up against your forearms and your head, or your forearms and your hands, tuck the back toes under, start to walk your feet towards your elbows, bend your right knee or your left knee, and start to shift your weight up and down your toes on the top of your tippy toes, so that eventually you can lift both knees, and then maybe you place your feet on the wall, walk your feet up the wall, and straighten the legs. Squeeze the glutes, squeeze everything here, really. And then see if you can lightly pull, like push into your forearms to push your head off of the ground. That's how much like lightness that you should have in your head. So you should be able to slightly lift your head off the mat. Just ever so slightly. So there you go. There's headstand. So I always recommend practicing against a wall. Another really great exercise for that is leg lifts. So when you're laying flat on the mat and you're lifting your legs up and down like this, that's a really great exercise to strengthen the core required for a headstand. And it does require some shoulder opening as well. That's why we were doing we had our hands on blocks in child's pose. That's why we're doing dolphin. That's why we're doing a lot of downward facing dog. So again, it's a lot of core work. I always recommend doing it against a wall so that you can practice that pretty safely. So If headstand is in your practice, here's another extra thing. And you can get up there in the middle of the room without a wall. The next thing that you can practice is piking. So when we're in headstand, when we're prepping for headstand, you start to walk your toes so far forward that they come off of the mat. And then you can start to slowly lift your legs all the way up. And then again, that's a lot of core work there. But the goal is to get your hips as far forward as possible before you kick up. So rather than starting here and trying to go up this way, walking your feet forward and then standing up. So I hope that helps. See what we're on time. Okay. So if you want to play around for that for another few minutes, otherwise, we're going to come down into child's pose and start to cool down. So take your hips wide or your knees wide and then start to walk. Actually, take your knees together this time. Knees are together. Start to walk your hands forward out in front of you. And then rest your forehead on the mat or in a pillow into child's pose with your knees together and your thighs are rested on your ribs and your chest are rested on your thighs. And take this moment to reconnect with the breath. Taking the deepest breaths yet that you have taken today. Couple more breaths here. And then on your next inhale, slowly start to rise back to tabletop pose. You have two options here. We're going to take either pigeon or figure four, a supine figure four. So supine figure four, I'll cue that first. If you know how to get into pigeon, take your right knee forward first. I'll cue that in a second. But for supine figure four, we're coming down to our back. Take your right knee into your chest. Cross your right ankle over your left knee. And then push your right knee forward. Stay here or start to pick up that left foot and draw everything in towards your chest, keeping that right knee pressing out towards the front of your mat. So you can either go there in supine figure four, or if you're in tabletop pose, high plank, and then take your right knee towards your right wrist, drop it down, and then take your left heel, slide your left heel should be in line with your left hip flexor. So slide that left hip foot back a little bit farther, release the toe, and then come into that sleeping pigeon, however you want to get there. So note that my left foot is as flexed as it can go. My right foot is as flexed as possible. My left foot is straight. My heel is pointing straight up towards the ceiling. And then I walk forward, either onto my forearms on a block or all the way down, depending on how open you are in the hip. And we're just resting here for a few breaths. One more breath here. And then on your next inhale, slowly start to rise up wherever you are. If you're on supine figure four, release the right foot and cross the left ankle over the right knee. If you're in pigeon, tuck the back toes under, lift the back knee off of the mat, step back into plank pose, downward facing dog for a moment. And then take your left knee towards your left wrist, your left heel towards your right hip flexor. Slide the right foot back a little bit further. Flex the left foot, untuck the back toes. Right heel is facing straight up towards the ceiling. And then you start to walk it out into sleeping pigeon on the other side. Forearms on a block or on the floor, all the way on the ground, up to you. And deep breaths. A few more breaths here. And on your next inhale, slowly start to rise. If you're in supine figure 4, release both of your legs so that your legs are straight out in front of you. If you're in pigeon, tuck your back toes under, lift your back knee, step back into downward facing dog. And then make your way onto your back. So we're coming into reclined bound angle pose, otherwise known as Supta Baddha Konasana. So we're on our back, and you can grab 2 pillows if you like. I actually recommend grabbing 2 pillows or whatever props that you have. We're taking the soles of our feet together and our knees open wide in butterfly. Take whatever props that you have and place them underneath your thighs so that this is more of a restorative pose and you're not so strained in the inner groin. And then take your right palm over your belly and your left palm over your heart. And then see if you can lift your hips off of the ground to tuck your tailbone underneath so that you're resting more on your sacrum and releasing the low back a bit. Deep, deep breaths here. Feel your belly rise and fall, and your palm and your chest rise and fall on your left hand. Feel the expansion, feel the space that you're creating. One more breath here. And then as you exhale, place your hands on the outsides of your thighs and draw your knees together. Keep the props there. Take your knees into your chest. Wrap your arms around yourself and then just start to make circles with your knees to massage the low back. And then come to stillness. Take your arms out wide like a T or like a goalpost. And then drop your knees over to the left. If your right shoulder comes off of the mat, put a pillow underneath your knees. And then energetically draw your right hip down towards the bottom of your mat. Just to lengthen the spine a little bit in this twist. And deep breaths here, once again, through the nose. The deeper that you can breathe in this, the more benefits you get out of this posture. One more breath. And then as you exhale, draw your knees back into center. Start to make circles with your knees again, massaging the sacrum, the low back. And then take your arms out wide and drop your knees over to the right. If that left shoulder comes off of the mat, please place a pillow underneath the knees. Deep breaths here. One more breath. And then as you exhale, draw your knees back into center. Wrap your arms around your shins. Give yourself another little squeeze. Maybe take your chin towards your heels. And then as you exhale, come into your final resting pose, Shavasana. So straighten the legs, let the outer edges of your feet drop towards the mat. Take your arms out to your sides with your palms facing up. Press into the back of your head to lift your shoulder blades off of the mat and then tuck them together underneath you. And then same thing with your heels. Press into your heels to lift your hips off of the mat. Tuck your tailbone underneath you to release the sacrum below back. And then close your eyes. Start to relax every single muscle in the body. Maybe you scan head to toe and notice if there's anything that you're still tensing up. So if you're holding on to any gripping or tense sensations, just let that relax, let that go. Could be in the gut, it could be in the shoulders, could be in the hands, the fingers, the toes, the jaw. So release the jaw. Unfurrow the brow. Really let go of that crease in your brow. Let your eyeballs sink back into your head. The lips are slightly parted. And your tongue is removed from the roof of your mouth. Shavasana. I recommend that you stay here as long as possible, at least for 5 minutes. And just enjoy the benefits of this practice.
Thank you so much for joining me today, and we'll see you next time.